There's no place like a brand new book unboxing. There's something magical about opening a new book, especially when it's a beautifully crafted edition of a timeless classic. Today, we're unboxing The Wizard of Oz and other wonderful books of Oz, a special edition that brings together three of L. Frank Baum's novels in a stunning collectible volume. Let's see what's behind the curtain, shall we? Right away, you can tell that this is something special. The hardcover has a really nice weight to it. The dust jacket is elegant without being over the top. It feels like a book that belongs on a collector's shelf, but is also meant to be read and enjoyed. One of my favourite things about special editions like this is the little details. The top stained pages give it an extra polished look, and the coloured end papers add a touch of character before you even start reading. Now, the great thing about the design of this book jacket is not only that it's designed by La Boca, but the whole thing is obviously emerald green and yellow for the yellow brick road, but it is so subtle in the sense of it just hints at the world of Oz. So on the front, we've obviously got the Wizard of Oz, and then we've got the ruby slippers that are in silver, which is a nice touch. I'm glad they've not used red for the design. But then on the in sleeves, but on the flaps, you've got a subtle hint of the house, and then also on the back flap, a hot air balloon. And these green and yellow geometric forms are actually a very abstract way of showing these sort of like fields from like an aerial view. So it's almost like we're looking down, almost like a map onto Dorothy's sort of world in sort of like little hints of what's in the book. So I think this is such a clever design, and I think it's one of the things that really drew me to this edition. Now, once you've gone away from the dust jacket, you've got the black and yellow, which to me is just, it screams sort of vintage to me for some reason. I'm not sure why, but it just does. But it's so simple, but so effective. Now, the other great thing about the design of this book is the sprayed edges, like we start off here with the cyclone, Dorothy's farm, and then she goes off into Oz and meets these characters that we all know and love. And of course having Trusty Toto with her as well. And then on the top, she runs into the flying monkeys. So the sprayed edges themselves actually tell the story, well, part of the story as well. And it's just, we all know these characters without even having to reread the book. So it is just such a lovely design. The designer has really, really, really put some thought into this, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. Hence, I purchased it. And then, of course, we've got the bright yellow in Toto on top of the Puffin books, because this is a Puffin, a Puffin Classics book. And then Toto on the back with a butterfly. So again, I just love the overall design and feel of this book. And it very much deserves a place on my bookshelf, as well as for me to get reading back into the world of Oz. Let's see what's inside. This edition includes three of Baum's Oz novels: The Wizard of Oz, 1900, The Emerald City of Oz, 1910, and Glinda of Oz, 1920. These stories take us deeper into Baum's vision of Oz, beyond what most people know from the famous 1939 film. What makes this edition even more special is that it's fully annotated. That means we get extra content about Baum's inspirations, the world of Oz, and how the books fit into a bigger picture of utopian literature. It's fascinating to see how much went into creating this world especially considering how it continues to inspire adaptations like Wicked today. These illustrations are a huge part of Oz's history. W. Donslow illustrated the first book, giving us that earliest visual interpretations of Dorothy, the Scarecrow, and the Tin Woodman. Later books, like The Emerald City of Oz and Glinda of Oz, were illustrated by John R. Nail, whose style brought a more refined, almost Art Nouveau quality to Oz. You can really see the difference in style. Dunslow's work was bold, almost folk art quality, whereas Nail's illustrations were more delicate and detailed. Both are essential to the way we imagine Oz today. You can see the comparison here of the Scarecrow compared to a more Art Nouveau stylized work. In the Emerald City of Oz, we see something really interesting. Dorothy, Aunt Em, and Uncle Henry actually moved to Oz permanently. This is Baum fully embracing Oz as a utopia, a world free from hardship, where creativity and kindness thrive. But of course, there's still conflict. The Gnome King is plotting to invade, and Dorothy has to find a way to stop him. Then, in Glinda of Oz, we have Dorothy and Princess Ozma trying to prevent a war between two mysterious groups, the Skeezers and the Flatheads. What's fascinating about this book is that it's Baum's last Oz novel, and you can feel how much he wanted to expand and deepen the mythology of this world. What I love most about this edition is that it's more than just a collection. It's a way to experience Oz as Baum originally imagined it, with historical context and stunning artwork. Whether you've only seen the movie or you've read all 14 books of Oz, this volume has something new to offer. Oz has been reimagined so many times, on stage, on screen, and in books, like Wicked. But it all started here, with Baum's original words and these incredible illustrations. If you want to step back into that world in its purest form, this is the perfect way to do it. To the eyes of a child, Oz is a land of wonders. To the mind of a seeker, it's an idea worth exploring. Today, I begin my deep dive into the world of Oz, not just as a series of children's stories, but as a utopian vision crafted by L. Frank Baum. This special edition, The Wizard of Oz and Other Wonderful Books of Oz, serves as my gateway. It compiles 3 key novels, The Wizard of Oz, The Emerald City of Oz, and Glinda of Oz, each offering a different perspective on Baum's invoking dream of a perfect society. A commonplace book feels like the right approach for this journey. Oz, after all, is not a linear narrative, but a world that unfolds in layers, mythology, psychology, politics, and imagination all intertwining. Here I will collect notes, reflections, historical context, and connections to other utopian literature. Some initial questions to explore. What defines Oz as a utopia? Unlike rigid rule-bound utopias of the past, Baum's vision is fluid, built on kindness, creativity, and the absence of material struggle. But is it truly free of flaws? How does Oz evolve across these 3 novels? In The Emerald City of Oz, Dorothy permanently relocates, escaping the hardships of Kansas. But in Glinda of Oz, we see the fragility of utopia. Conflicts still exist at its borders. How does Oz compare to other utopian visions? From Plato's Republic to Morrison's News from Nowhere, utopias are often structured societies with strict rules. Oz, by contrast, operates on almost an organic harmony, one that raises questions about governance, power, and sustainability. As I read, I will gather passages, illustrations, and insights fragments of worlds that, over a century later, still calls to dreamers and thinkers alike. Somewhere over the rainbow may not be a literal place, but through these pages I intend to map its contours. Thanks for joining me on this little journey of Oz. Let me know in the comments what's your favourite version of Oz. Do you prefer the classic books, the movie, or something else? Until next time, happy reading, and remember, the road to adventure is just a page away. Bye for now.